Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of The Soundstage. I'm your host, Kyle. I am here with the one and the only DJ Rachel Lynch. Rachel, thank you so much for joining me today. So excited to have you. For those of you who don't know who Rachel is, I don't know how you've been living under a rock or whatever for the last couple of years, but if you're in the DJ community, you know who she is. Give yourself a nice round of applause for DJ Rachel. So, fantastic. How you doing today?
So good. Thank you so much for having me. So nice to connect with you. Haven't spoken with you since the expo, so it's cool to catch up again.
Absolutely. It's been great. I've been coming to these conventions for a while, and keep seeing you at the different ones. And I don't think we really actually met until like Mex of this year. Like I'd seen you and talked to you a little bit here and there, but we never really got a chance to talk until like Mex of this year. So
Because everybody's so busy, right? I mean, you're setting
yeah,
up, we're doing our thing, and just it's busy on the floor, which is how we like it. But
absolutely.
there's
Yep,
there's
that's a
not
good
a
thing.
lot of downtime, to say the least,
No, no, definitely not. And when there is downtime, it's usually we need to sit down because there's downtime.
or sleep,
So
or eat, or go to the
yeah,
bathroom, or something, right?
yeah. You guys get to go to the bathroom? That's crazy.
Yeah.
We don't get a chance to do that, but um, I really appreciate you joining me today. And when we were talking about putting this podcast together, your name was definitely one that came up. Like, hey, we definitely got to get Rachel on there, not just because you're a big fan of our products and you shout us out all the time, which we were so thankful for. But just because you're a big name in the community, and I think there's a lot of people that go to you, your videos and things for what's going on in the industry, keeping up, and all that sort of thing. So I just wanted to get you on here, talk a little bit about your backstory, kind of stuff that's going on right now with you, and just kind of go from there.
All right.
Awesome. So, where did Rachel start? How did you start in this crazy world of DJing?
So it's a wild story, and I've told it many times. So anybody
Of
who's followed
course,
me has probably heard this a whole bunch. I will keep this as brief as possible.
no
So I've
problem.
been at this about 20 years. But seriously, I'm gonna say for the past like 12 to 15. It was kind of just like a hobby, a random thing that kind of
Hmm.
just came into my life. But how it got started is my brother was actually a DJ. That was kind of like his first job out of high school. He
Yep.
worked for a multi-op and just kind of a weekend warrior kind of stuff. So I was always around it, right? Like I saw his equipment. Now we're talking back when you had cases of CD Logic cases. Um, passive bow system where the speakers, weighed more than I did. Where you had to look at the promo only CD jackets to see what was on what. Like you couldn't just type it into virtual DJ or title
Yeah.
and, just have
There
what
you
you
go.
wanted when you
Yep.
want it. Like we're talking old school, not vinyl, but enough to where it was very heavy and cumbersome to be
Old enough.
a,
Yeah.
D, a DJ, old enough to know that. So, any which way, I didn't want to be a DJ. I just was kind of thrown to the fire due to a family emergency. So one morning we heard a really loud bang upstairs in my brother's bedroom, and obviously my family wants to know what the heck was that.
Oh,
And we had found that he had like passed out and went unconscious and fell into his closet doors and knocked them off the track, and it sounded like the ceiling fell in. Obviously, he was in an absolute dire state. We called 911 and he was taken off to the emergency room. But lo and behold, as karma would have it, he was getting ready to DJ a wedding that day. So I was only, I think, 15 at the time. I had a learner's permit, so I wasn't even old enough to drive. And he's 4 years older than me. So I knew the gravity of the situation. Like I knew what it meant to not have a wedding, like for him to not be there.
yeah.
So my mom went off with my brother to the hospital and my dad, stayed home with me, and we kind of agreed like we should at least go and let these people know, what happened. So we actually finished packing the car. And again, this is back when text messaging was like 10 cents a piece. It wasn't the
Yep.
instant communication you had now. I didn't have backup DJs on speed dial or hit them up on the gram or send them a, message on Facebook. That just wasn't a thing, right? So we also didn't have GPS. This was when GPS was like $600 for like a Garmin.
So,
So
so
we had
you had to
MapQuest.
map quest it. Yep.
Yeah, no, he already had the MapQuest printed out because he was
Oh,
going to
okay.
use them to
Oh,
get there. So
man, he was super prepared.
yeah. So we grabbed that. We show up to these people's event, and of course they're like, "Who's this weird old guy?" And who's like this kid? Like this isn't our DJ. So, my father and I kind of explained the dire nature of the situation just to let them know, like, hey, he didn't steal your money and run. Like, honestly, we don't even know if he's alive. Like, just spoiler alert, we found out he was a type 1 diabetic. He went into a diabetic coma. He made a full recovery. He's fine. But at the time, he could have
Yeah,
went
you
into
don't
cardiac
know.
arrest. Like, we had
Right.
no idea. So,
Hmm.
we just wanted to explain what happened. And I said, listen, I'm not a DJ by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm familiar with a CD collection. Like, I know what a play button is. Like, I know what a volume fader is. And I said, my dad and I are willing to set up this equipment and figure it out for you, if this was what you want us to do, just so you have something. Now, again, remember, I just want to reemphasize there was no Spotify. You couldn't just type
Yeah.
in wedding reception top 200 and get a Bluetooth
Yeah.
speaker and, just figure it out, kind of what a lot of couples are thinking they were going to replace DJs now with. So if I didn't do this, they literally would have had nothing.
Nothing.
Right?
Yeah.
So, my dad and I are plugging every cord into every hole, not knowing where anything goes until we heard something. Like, just that's it.
Yeah.
We just, all right, this
Hmm.
looks like it fits. Do we hear something? No, we don't. Let's try the next hole. And again, this was a
Little
passive,
literal trial and error.
literal trial and error. Passive bow system, Serwin Vega sub 18-inch. The thing, it was a monster. I couldn't lift any of this stuff. Like, if my dad didn't go, I was not lifting these amps. I was not lifting these speakers. So
Yeah.
my dad was there as the muscle. And we figured it out. So, I got the critical details of like their first dance, went to like the CD, collection and pulled out what I had to. And I actually did my first wedding as like a 15-year-old kid. You want to talk about traumatizing?
Well, and also baptism by fire.
Yes,
Like, if it is literally you are thrown to the wolves because it's somebody's wedding. That's a really high pressure situation. And like I'd heard about it recently, but that was the first time I heard about it. And I hadn't heard the full story of it. So it's it's an interesting story. That's that's a tough one.
it
That is
is.
most people's, yeah, you don't think of that as your first time DJing, and also that being your first time DJing and then deciding to stick with it.
Well, so from there, so anyway, it wasn't a great event, by all intents and purposes, other than not having dead silence, I would consider it like a failure. They were disappointed. They didn't have the DJ they wanted. Like, clearly I'm not like really mixing it just, but something was better than nothing. They obviously appreciated, the effort and the transparency of the situation. Didn't get paid. It's okay. That's not what it was about. I
Yep.
just really wanted to save his reputation, to know that he wasn't a bad guy. He didn't steal your money. Like we really legitimately had a family emergency, and we're going to do whatever we can to make it right as best as we could. And that's what we did. So, so time had passed. Again, I wasn't DJing, but then as I got older, around 17, 18, now remember, my brother's 4 years older, so now he starts doing bars and clubs. Well, I love music. I've always been in high school band. I've played the piano, so I've always been musically inclined. I took tap dancing, so like just rhythm and counting, and I think that's why I didn't do as bad as I probably should have done when I my
Yeah.
first to the fire, because I understood music.
Hmm.
Um, and so anyway, obviously, little sister wants to get in where the action is, and it had nothing to do with like drinking and like all that. I wanted to be around loud, great music. So then he would go out for a cigarette break and you'd be like, hey, when this song gets to, 2 minutes and 33 seconds, hit this button and this button. I was getting like little mini DJ lessons. And then the cigarette break turned in from 5 minutes to 20 minutes at weekend after weekend, then to an hour. And I just was doing these mini sets. And I got better and better. And then as I got older and he got busier, he would start giving me a lot of, I'll say, low pressure events. If he had double booked or a couple inquiries. So he would give me, the lower level work, and he would do the weddings and stuff. And then I started to like help him, like if he needed help as an assistant, just kind of learning the ropes. And he was a tremendous mentor to me. So 110%, if it wasn't for him, like I would not be doing this today. But I never wanted to be a DJ. It happened. Like here we are. So
Yeah. No, that's an awesome story, and I like it. I love that it's a family. Like, it was kind of the family business for the kids' family business, and that's an awesome thing that you and your brother had together. But it also it brought you closer to something that you loved in music, and it gave you an opportunity to do that and make money doing it. Pretty awesome combination, if you ask me. And so it's really cool, and that's one thing that I really like about doing this podcast is finding kind of everybody's story and how did you come about? Like, how did you decide to do it? Um, and a big one really does come down to everybody's love of music, and it's not even um, you know, it's not the same as everybody else, obviously, but for a lot of us, it just hits us in a different way and it moves us emotionally. And I talked to, I forget who it was, either one of the last podcast people I had on, and I talked about how, do you ever get that feeling like when you hit the bridge of a song or a certain thing, like you get that little tingle down your spine or you feel that little thing, throughout your body?
You just
I,
get
I
it's just that intuition. You get just something, it gets buzzing and you're just like, this is it. This is what I need to do next. Like
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I get that with a lot of music, and I get that with a lot of things. Like even if I'm just listening to a song, it's like, oh, you can just feel it building. If you haven't heard it before, it's building. Okay, now it's gonna hit. Now, yep. Okay, I got that fuzzy feeling and the whole thing. And I found out, and I don't know why it never occurred to me, but I found out about a year ago. Not everybody gets that, and it made me so sad that like really like you don't feel that when this happened. I can't, like I couldn't imagine not feeling it. So when some people say, "Oh no, like music," is like, okay, it's fine, it's noise. It's like, oh man, but it's not no, like it's so much more than that. So it's just so cool how everybody is different and how everything works, and um, yeah, how great like music can bring people together in the community and all that sort of thing. So it's just really awesome. So you're DJing with your brother, you do all that kind of stuff. So are you guys just like the two of you? Or are you kind of like a little mini op, just the two of you, or did you grow off and have more people doing it for you guys, or just the two of you doing stuff?
So it really never was anything serious. It was just kind of like if I was available, he needed an extra set of hands because it was like a busier event, or if I really had nothing going on. Um, and then again, he started feeding me some work. And then instead of like I would do a good job, and instead of them calling him back, they would say, "Hey, who was that girl? She was great." And then I would start getting like my own phone calls without them going through him specifically. So I kind of just like built my own clientele, my own basis. And then I kind
Hmm.
of had like, after like a decade of just random here and there, like I had like a thriving like side business that I never even intended. And then he kind of retired from it. He had a family, just other things happen, life, whatever, and he kind of like got out of it. And I've just been like full steam ahead ever since, like again over the past like 10, 12 years. It's been tremendous. And then you add in like, the social media, the YouTube channel, all the videos, connecting with great vendors like you, attending these expos. And then things just kind of like just really blew up, and it's been an amazing opportunity for me. So
Yeah. So what is it that made you decide to start doing the YouTube thing? Because that's a big part. And I'm not saying that you're not a great DJ and the whole thing like that, but a big reason that so many people outside of your market and things like that know who you are is because of your awesome videos and stuff that you do put out on YouTube and stuff. So kind of what was the antithesis to do that? Was it just to like get yourself out in marketing, or you just felt the need to do it? How did that all go?
that's it's a two-part answer. So
Sure.
the first thing is I actually remember the video that kind of catapulted me. I did a really crapo just walkthrough of this Magma XL DJ bag that I got for my MCX 6000. And when I was looking to buy a controller bag, I couldn't find what I was looking for, like a video on it to show how deep the pockets were and like how much could you fit in it, and was it comfortable. So after I bought it and took a chance on the bag, I was like, hey, this thing is dope as hell. So I decided
Yeah.
to make just a little video to help people with the information I didn't have.
Hmm.
And that's really all it was. And then I DJ now, stumbled upon it. They reached out and we built a small relationship, with some tutorials, this and that. And, things springboarded from there. So that was just like one thing. But then the persistence with it, unfortunately, there's like a little darker, depressing side to this was it was really to kind of combat like the bullies, the naysayers. Again, going back 15 years, there wasn't a lot of, at least I didn't know any of private, predominantly wedding, female mobile DJs. Like you'd see them in the clubs and this and that, or, you know, um, kind of the nightlife scene, but like, a woman out there kicking ass, moving hundreds of pounds of gear, and seeing her own events. Like I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have that. And then of course, when you start posting things on social media and you get the, oh, you're a Paris Hilton, you're playing pre-recorded stuff, you just show up and you have like, the equipment fairy setting up everything. People only pay attention to you because you're cute, just always try to diminish everything. I mean, I still have internet bullies.
Oh yeah.
I dealt with one yesterday. So I really just wanted to say, you know what, I'm going to pull back the curtain. You're either going to love me or hate me. This is what I do. This is how I do it. And if it helps someone out, great on their journey. And it's also going to show that I'm competent, I'm capable, and kind of what you see is what you get. So it was kind of like a two birds with one stone kind of a thing. And it's helped me tremendously. Yeah, I felt like I had a lot to prove as a young female mobile DJ. So,
Oh yeah. I think that's a really good thing, and also good on you for not, because it's very easy to, once you start getting that negative thing, just to be like, even if you're still confident in yourself, like, well, okay, well, maybe I won't post anymore because that's just not fun to deal with, and I just don't want to have to deal with it. Even though I know it's not true, I just don't really want to deal with it. So the heck with it. So that's good on you, like, to show that, hey, you know what? It's not true. I can do this and show everybody, and just go out there and just keep doing it. And unfortunately, the way that obviously the internet is, and we all know this, that's never going to stop. It doesn't matter how good of anything that you do, people are going to say that it's bad for some reason because they don't have anything else better to do with their lives. So,
well,
internet
I kind
trolls
of have
are
a
the
philosophy,
thing.
like, and it's other DJs that are obviously like you're the worst critics, right? So, I gave a seminar at Harvest of Sound last year, and it was on social media marketing, and I ended with stop DJing for other DJs. And I don't mean literally networking and collaborating. I mean, don't make content with that noise in the back of your head. Like, what is this DJ going to think? Am I not, scratching this way? Or they're going to, my wires aren't perfectly gaffed at a 90-degree angle. Like just all the distraction and noise and nonsense that you see in the forums, and just, the jealousy and the pettiness, that does exist. I mean, overall, I think we have a tremendous community, and I choose to just keep those people in my circle. But like you said, it's the
Mhm.
internet, it exists. And that was kind of just like my tip for people is just don't DJ for other DJs. The only people that need to enjoy your work is you in here and the people signing your check. And that's it. And that's
Yeah,
kind of how I move forward. And that's why I just, okay, that's good. On
yeah.
to the next one.
And again, it's a great philosophy, and it's hard to do it. And like, thinking about that, even when starting this, I'm not gonna lie, that was one of the things that I first thought about. I was like, okay, like, if I do this, what's everybody else gonna think? How should I do it? How should I go about it? But then after a while, you're just like, you know what? I just need to do it my way, or it's not gonna make any sense. Because otherwise, I'm gonna be trying to do it for somebody else, and then it's not gonna work like I want it to work, and it's the whole thing. So I think that's a really great philosophy that you are telling people to go through with. And, in practicing it myself, I think it's just the only real way to do it, because, it's the same way with your DJ business and doing the social media thing. If you are not yourself doing it, people can tell. If you are behind the decks and you are not into the music, you're not having fun, you're not doing that sort of thing, the crowd can vibe with that, and they understand this, like, okay, they're just kind of going through the motion. They're just playing music. They're not really DJing and understanding and doing anything like that. Um, like, I think about this last weekend. I did a wedding this last weekend. Wasn't fantastic. The music choices that they had weren't super conducive for dancing at weddings. Um, Basically, a large portion of it was stuff like My Neck, My Back for like an hour. It was all that sort of thing. And but I had to be there because her and her girlfriends were out there and they were loving it, having their best time, loving the whole thing. Wasn't my type of stuff to dance to, or play at a wedding with lots of grandmas and things there. But you know what? I gotta put on that perform. I gotta do the thing. I gotta still vibe with it. I gotta get into it, do the whole thing. So you just gotta put on that smile and keep going. So
So I got a review actually a few days ago from a wedding 2 weeks ago, and there's one line that really stood out to me. And she said she was so excited to be our DJ or to do our wedding, and like she could have ended it there. Like the fact that she noticed, like, hey, she wanted to be here. She gave 110%. Like she wanted to be our DJ. Like that's how I know I crushed it. It had nothing to do with, all her mixes were so good. It's that I made
mhm.
them feel that I wanted to be there, and that's what
Yeah.
it's about. And I do, right? So, I don't know if you know, I actually work a full-time job and always have, always
Mhm.
will. And I literally do this because I love it and I'm good at it and I like making people feel good and happy. And it's, some good extra money on the side and et cetera, et cetera. But I don't have to do this, right? I don't have to
Yeah.
give up my Saturdays and be away from family and my pets and, you know, um,
Oh yeah.
and I think that shows and it needs to show. So,
Well, and I think it needs to show because of the fact that if you don't need it and you're just doing it to do it, again, that's going to show. It's to do the whole thing. And I feel that same way. Like, I work for NLFX full time. I have 4 kids, but I still go out on Saturdays and do this because one, it is good extra money for, when you have 4 kids. But it's also because I can't not do it. Like if I go through like the off season when it first gets there, it's like, oh, thank goodness, got a break. I've been doing things all season. It's so great to have it. But after about 3 weeks, kind of like, like, can we get? I'm really ready for holiday parties to start, so I can get back out and do those because it's a little bit of a drug. That high of getting in front of somebody and performing and doing a great job for them. Um, like you said, if you're there for your couples and you're there for anybody that you're doing an event for, and they can tell that you're excited to be there, you can have bad transitions. You can do not play the oh man, I could have played this, I could have done that. They won't care because you're
mhm.
excited to be there and you did everything that they wanted you to do. So I think that's a really good way to go about it. So
So you want to know how to piggyback off of your like you just you need to do it. It's just like when you have downtime, you feel like anxious and you're just like, hey,
yeah.
you're craving events. So on topic, but not on topic. So 3 weeks ago, I was hired just to do photo booth services and provide ceremony microphones. I didn't even need to play any music. I just literally mic'd the couple just for amplification and did photo booth. It was one of the most excruciating days of my life. I didn't know what to do with myself. I felt so anxious. Rather than
Hmm.
being relaxed, like, hey, you got an easy night. You just got to stay in here, have people phone with the photo booth and versus all like the stress and the chaos and lining up for intros and, sound check. Like, I didn't have to do any of that. By all intents and purposes, I should have been sipping pina coladas, living my best life, relaxed. I literally, because I'm good friends with the people at the venue, I was like, hey, can I help you pour champagne? Just give me something to do. I
To do.
don't know how to
Yeah.
not take the leader role. It was so weird for me and I hated it. I was like, I'm not built to be this basic.
I know.
So,
Um, that goes along. So one of my best friends who was on this podcast for the very first episode, Jesse, he got married this summer. And so he wanted all of his DJ friends who are very close to him to just be there and not do anything, which is awesome. It was the right call, obviously. But all of us who were there were just like, I'm sitting on the dance floor. The DJ was Chris Hinz. He was up there. He was killing it, playing great songs. But like, how you do have like little mini sets that you do, like, oh, I generally follow this song with this song and this and then
mhm.
this. He's playing a song and he plays the next. I'm like, well, he played the wrong song. Like that's not how that goes. That's not even the right song. I don't know what he thinks he's doing up there. Because you can't turn it off. And it
Right.
was the same thing. Like he's getting ready to do. I'm coming in for grand entrance, but I'm just like, oh, are we all lined up? Like, are we doing the thing? Like, do I need to make sure the music's right? Like, no, he's clearly has it. I don't need to do the
Right.
music,
It's
but
so weird. It's
it
so
is.
weird.
It's really
Yeah.
hard to be. It's really hard to be a guest at a wedding anymore, or like the photo booth and things like that. It's very hard because the whole time you're just like, yeah, but you're not doing it right, even though they're doing great. Oh, you're not doing it right because I'm not doing it. That's
Well,
the
they had a band, so I wasn't even able to, like, project like that. Like, I
oh, okay.
controlled nothing,
No,
but the
yeah,
fact that I had nothing to do, it was driving me nuts.
it's odd. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so
You
weird.
feel like I should not be getting paid because I'm not DJing, so I'm not doing the thing that I
Well, it made
normally
me
do.
realize how I mean, I already knew this, but how hard I work at every event, how many hats I juggle, how much responsibilities on me, how much like again, I always knew it, but like it really hit me as I'm sitting there, because the photo booth wasn't really active during cocktail hour, so I'm just kind of like standing there
Yeah,
waiting for people to walk up or whatever, and like you're thinking, it's just like, wow, like I'm a freaking magician. Like the amount of stuff that I pull off in that 8-hour window between lighting and setting up the photo booth, but letting it run itself, and sound and mic checks and lining up wedding parties and like it hit me like we are
yeah.
superstars.
We're doing the grand entrance. I got to make sure the photographer knows, the videographer knows, the caterer knows that we're ready to do dinner in 5 minutes. That we're you're running around with chicken with your head cut off. And sometimes I wondered, even with, because sometimes I do easier load ins because I have a tow booth, so it's a lot easier to load it and stuff. But you're still exhausted. It's just because, oh yeah, but you're just running back and forth 15 different times, getting everything lined up and ready to go and all that sort of thing. So
Just the
yeah,
adrenaline,
it's
man. You got one chance to get it right. That's it.
yeah,
Like one Freudian slip of the tongue, equipment. I don't care if you have the top of the line everything. Anything electronic can break at any time for any reason. Now, obviously, statistically, more premium stuff, better, whatever. But at the end of the
yep,
day, you're at the mercy of a soldering gun and some math or whatever it is. And,
yeah.
that's a lot. So
It is, and it's really funny that you mentioned that because so on Saturday I have had my Sennheiser mics for 4 years. I've never had one dropout with them, and suddenly on Saturday one just starts dropping for no reason. I'm not that far away. It's dropping. I'm like, what? So I ran out. I have two, so I ran out the other one. And everything worked fine. I was like, I don't understand. And I kid you not, I had four different people call me today at NLFX because there's like, I don't know what's going on with my mic. I had weird cutouts that I had this week that I've never had. And someone's like, apparently it was just a weird weekend that everybody just had cutouts on their mics. Just like, I've had these they'd never cut out, and all of a sudden they're just cutting out. I don't know what's going on. Do I need to replace them? I'm
I
just like,
saw it in the forum, so you're not even joking. I must have seen 3 posts on my own about Sennheiser mics,
yeah,
whatever. That's the thing with wireless, man. I don't care if you spend 10 grand on mics. Like you're dealing
yeah,
just with environmental whatever, and something
yeah,
can happen at any time. So always have a
yep.
corded mic with you.
Well, and that was the part that was a little weird is that the one wireless mic cut out, the other one didn't, and I was using the because I was outside for dancing, but the reception was inside, and so I was running wireless inside. Never one cut out, never one drop. Just for some reason, that one mic just cut out. It's like, and it worked
Right.
just fine for everything else. And then as soon as it was time to do, of course, it does it while I give it to the best man to do toasts. It just cuts out. It's like, okay. I
I
mean,
find
again,
microphones the most stressful part of DJing. I will do anything else. Microphones are the most stressful part to me because you have very little control over outside of scanning, line of sight. You can put your fins up, the horizon 45 degree. There's all the things, but at the end of the day, sometimes they're just going to do what they're going to do,
yeah.
and that's it. So
Sometimes you just
microphones
hear a
give
weird
me,
signal and you're done.
yeah.
The best. Um, that's really awesome. So you're doing all this 12, 15 years. So what is it that brings you back week after week? What is it that keeps you wanting to come back, wanting to do it? Is it the stuff that we just talked about? Is it the getting everybody coordinated? Like, do you feel that rush of doing it, or is it just the music, the couples? What is it?
I mean, there's a couple I guess ways to respond to this. So obviously the first thing it's going to be the couples knowing that you had such a significant impact on a once in a lifetime event. um I don't think a lot of people appreciate the gravity of that. Like if I were to disappear off the earth tomorrow, I know that I have hundreds of people that have had a great day and or the best day of their life because of me, and I like the ripple effect of that. I like the value that that brings me as just like a human being. The customer service end of it, the kindness, the connection. It gives me purpose. I feel like it just adds value to me as a human being, knowing that I'm doing good things for good people. I guess if we're gonna get all like philosophical and philanthropic. Um, and I'm not afraid to say it. The again, like the extra money in hand is makes it, worthwhile to give up that time. And I like the stimulation it gives my brain. I know people are gonna think I'm crazy, but I I'd almost be okay removing the performance part of it. Like I really like setup. I like the challenge of it. I like the type A, like wire management. How can I execute this? How do I make this fit in this weird space? It keeps me challenged and stimulated. That's why I'm like, unfortunately, over the years, because I'm that kind of person, I've positioned myself that I'm like the girl who could do it all. So I get the clients that have the worst venues, the worst layouts, no power. We're on an island. You got to take a boat to get here. My wedding next weekend, I literally have to ride up a ski lift to get to the ceremony site. So I have to strap on my Everse and take my gator pole and ride up a 15-minute. Like I do the impossible. And that's what keeps me like, it's so cool. Now, granted, I work my
Yeah.
ass off. Like I did a 6-story wedding in a science museum. Um, like I work very hard, but it's very rewarding and I like it, if that
Yeah,
answers your
it's
question.
no, absolutely. I tell you what, you might be the first person and maybe the only person that will ever say, I like setup and I like setup. I think that's everybody's like, well, I mean, if you could take setup and teardown out of it, I love doing everything else. It's just, but you're not wrong. Like that is a very big part of what we do. It's that problem solving of figuring out, hey, you know what? You have this really challenging thing. I got you covered. It's okay.
I
You know,
market myself as a solution-based DJ. I don't tell my couples no. Unless it's,
yeah,
like, unsafe or, like,
right.
literally undoable, but you want me to ride up a
Yeah.
ski lift and do your ceremony at the top of a mountain? Sure, and I think that's why I'm such a gearhead, because without the gear that I have, I don't think I could do the things that I'm asked to do. Now, obviously,
No.
gear doesn't supplement, actually knowing how to MC, actually knowing how to throw a good party,
Hmm.
but at the end of the day, I feel like I can really deliver a premium service because of the great gear that I have access to. And it took me a while to acquire it and figure out what I need. But I could be a one woman show and do lighting, 3 zones of sound, and photo booth, all by myself within, the 2 hour window or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and it feels
No, you're
good to be able to do that.
absolutely, and that's something that I pride myself on too. I I don't want to say that I was ahead of the curve, but I feel like I was with like the whole wireless systems and things like that. I was using wireless IEMs back in 2018 because I was just like I got to because I'm in Iowa where I was before I moved now. But where I was before, it was all big outdoor barn venues, weird venues that super long and you got to go around this corner to get to here, but we want sound back here. How do you get it back there without a new thing, without having microphones, all that kind of stuff? And so, yeah, I think it was 2018, 2000, first part of 2019, I got those wireless IEMs and it just kind of changed everything for me and what I was able to do for people. And that was a really big thing um, where it was before, like, hey, this guy can just kind of do whatever you need him to do.
Hmm.
And having, like you said, having those solutions, you know, like with the Evers, I have a Prime Go also, and that's what I use for my ceremonies. And so it was a year and a half ago, or whatever. There was a couple. We were out again, out in the middle of nowhere, and a storm blew through and knocked out the power. Well, within 5 minutes, I had an Evers on a pole. I had my Prime Go set up, and okay, let's keep going. I had wireless uplights that were already ready to go. I just went around. I turned them to a color so they didn't just change all night for no reason. Um, and then we just kept going with the party, and we were able to keep going and kept that thing going for 2.5 hours with no power. But wasn't crushing sound. But hey, we were still able to mix. I was still able to do stuff and get get to keep the party going. So being able to do all those solutions, like you said, can't do without the gear. So
Right. 100%.
Yeah. So speaking of gear, let's get into it.
Okay.
Because we're both kind of gearheads. I'm a little bit like you. Like I always try to, well, what's the next thing that we need to do to keep the train going and staying ahead of the curve and all that. So let's start. Let's just start with the base of your system. What are you using for a controller, mixer, all that?
So I have three, but my
Okay.
primary controller for private events, weddings is a Roland 707M. Absolutely love that thing. I own two of them because I have a black booth and a white booth. I use a Danny Max console. I have a couple styles of that, so they're permanently kind of in the top, and they're amazing. My club controller, believe it or not, I'm still rocking a Denon MCX 8000, one of the first standalone units ever made. Thing's been rock solid. Love the damn thing. When it dies, I'll probably go to maybe like a Rain Performer or something just to get kind of like that, that club feel. Like
Yep.
the layout is
Hmm.
awesome. But to me, there was no need to drag something that large around. I just needed a four channel, the Roland fit the need. And the fact that I didn't need an external mixer is also why I went with that. And then I still
Yeah.
have I actually have an MC 6000. I have an MC 6000 MK2, and I have a Hercules RMX, which was my very first controller. And then I also
Okay.
have a little Hercules Starlight, the little microcontroller, again, as like a backup, little
Hmm.
ceremony cocktail hour thing. So that's my whole fleet of controllers.
Got a lot. Got lots of those. Yeah, the 707M. You can't really beat the variety of inputs and outputs on that thing. It's a pretty great controller for what it is. Um, yeah. So you said the one that I actually do have, you don't have. I have an MC 7000 that I still use.
Hmm.
Um, it was my that was actually my first controller. I didn't get into controllers until like 2017 because again I was doing part time and I was just doing things. I was just doing it off my laptop and sliding the fader on virtual DJ with a mouse and doing all that sort of thing. Nothing great, but it worked. So I got into those and I have that. So I have my MC 7000 in a coffin that I take out just if I need to quick set up somewhere. And again, yeah, it's rock solid. It's worked perfect since the day I got it, and it's still working awesome. So they're very well built machines. So you don't use any sort of external mixers on anything like that. So next in your audio chain. So what do you got for speakers?
Whoa. So I have Evolve 50s, which I use for, I'd say, 95% of my events. They're fantastic. I have them in black and white. I have a set of Evolve 30Ms, which I use for a lot of retail corporate events, just general PA. Like, for example, I did a Raising Cane's. I don't know if you know what that is or if you have that out
Hmm.
there.
Chicken. Yep.
It's like a Chick-fil-A kind of
Yep.
competitor. They did a grand opening. So they wanted me outside in the parking lot. I literally used 130M and rocked it. I was in a Lululemon inside of a mall 2 weeks ago. Same thing, it's 30M. So I use it for things like that. Before the Everse came out, that was also my satellite speaker. So if I needed to fill a room or a space, I would plop that somewhere. Especially since it didn't have tripods, like I didn't have to worry about people like tripping over it and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So I have a set of Evolve 30Ms. Then when I need bigger sound, right, because the Evolves don't cover everything, I have ETX 18SP subs and I have ETX 10P tops, and that would be like my next size up. And then when I do like outdoor festivals, food trucks, festivals, car shows, things like that, or like a prom or something like that, I have ETX 35Ps as well when I really need to step it up. So all
Those
of
probably
that,
weigh as much as you do.
they're
Those things
87
are
pounds to be
they're
exact.
big boys.
They
Yeah.
are they are phenomenal.
Yep.
So I have the perfect sound for every situation because I really believe right tool for the right job, kind of a
Oh
thing.
yeah.
So,
Absolutely. No, that's a really good point. And I like that you
oh, and
kind
then
of have
Evers, obviously, a set of Evers
sure.
eights.
Yeah. White, black.
Black.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I have white
Yeah.
for the white booth, but I feel like for ceremony or satellite speaker, white almost sticks out more. And I know we think of white weddings, but when you're outside, I want the florals to stand out. Like if I'm standing near a bush or a tree, like black hides better. So I went with black, or if I'm using a satellite speaker, like and kind of fade into the corner. I just felt white has a very prominent presence. So that was kind of a no-brainer for me. Definitely black, more often than not. But
Sure. Yeah. No, that
white
makes
booth,
sense.
gotta have the white speakers. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm an all white guy all the time, especially for wedding stuff. Um, I don't know. It's just something about it for me that it hits a little bit different. I have, like you, I have a set of really big speakers for doing school dances and things like that. Those are all in black because they don't really make those in white usually. So, but other than that, yeah, I'm a white guy all the time for that kind of stuff. And I really like that you have, like you said, the right tool for the job. Yeah, I have this. It's great, but it doesn't work in everything. And I think a lot of DJs get caught up in that, especially when they're first starting out. Well, I need one that can do everything. Well, that's really hard to accomplish. So, they have ones that are, hey, these are well rounded, but you know, the right rig for the gig, as Ben always says. So,
right.
yep. So we have those. Is there anything else that you use audio wise that you just love and you can't live without it? Use it all the time. Anything else you can think of?
Oh gosh. I mean, so I use Electro Voice RE3 mics. Those have been really solid for me. And I actually, people are gonna like panic and sigh, but I actually just retired my Shure SM58 for a EV ND76S, and I actually think it sounds a little better. It's a little more vibrant. It has additional clarity and brightness. Now, granted, I don't know if I could drag it behind the back of my car and still have it work. Like, we'll find out. I've been using that
Yeah,
Shure SM58 for literally since I started DJing like 15 years
yeah,
ago. It's a great mic, but um, it didn't make any sense to me because I use all ND76 mics. I have a 420 capsule, I have a 520, and just the sound profile of those has a signature sound. And then I was using a completely different brand with a completely different diaphragm, and I don't know, it was just too much like back and forth with the tweaking. So I just went like all EV mics, so it's just all consistent. Um, and I don't know, it's like $140 mic, like it's nothing like
nothing
spectacular,
crazy.
but it's a fantastic mic. So love my microphones. And I'm just picturing my booth. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just going through my
Oh, you're
booth.
good.
Um, I use in-ear monitors. I just started using those about a year and a half ago, and those are phenomenal. And I actually look at that. That's right. I'm telling you, it's the
I
truth.
was gonna say I have one.
It's a great microphone.
Yeah, they are really good.
I actually just had a hearing test today, believe it or not. I went to an
Okay.
audiologist for an appointment, and my hearing is stellar. And then when they found out I was a DJ, they're like, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing
Oh,
it." And I'm
yeah,
like, "I use in-ear monitors." And I'm also not a jackass.
yeah.
I'm
Not
aware and
standing directly in front of it. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. But guys, your most important piece of equipment is your ears. Just
yep.
saying.
So, which in-ear monitors do you roll with?
So I have Ultimate Ears, and they have an array of, entry level models all the way up to things that are four times, the price of mine. With, they get more complicated with more drivers, more isolation, but the ones I got were recommended for DJs because they have tremendous isolation, but also a lot of like bass and fullness. Like it gives you everything that you'd want to hear out of a great set of
Hmm.
cans. So I specifically use the UE11s. They're
U11s.
custom
Okay.
molded, so they're very comfortable, and they provide about negative 27 dB isolation, which is a lot. So again, if you care about your hearing, and folks, you don't have to go crazy expensive. Like these were like $1,200. You could get entry level ones off of Amazon for like 80 or 100. You could use foam earplugs. Just do something, and it's never too
Yeah,
late to save your hearing.
yeah. It's
I'll get
always a
off my
good idea.
soapbox.
No, that's okay. I've thought about going to those for a long time. I've always just worried about like I don't want to take them in and out all the time when people come. But I know that they have that like pass through now that you can do to make it easier to hear people close by.
100%.
So
Here's the thing with that though, because I've had some people, I don't want to say get upset with me, but like they got the UE11s, and they go, Rach, I don't know what you're talking about, but like, I can't hear people. Here's the thing, if you already have poor hearing, like you're plugging it up with something that's giving you negative 27 dB isolation, it might be hard for you to hear people, but because my hearing is good, that pass through works amazingly. Like I can hear requests. I don't have to pull out my in-ear monitors. So that's going to influence it a little bit. And I'm not going to lie, it is a little weird. Like if you're used to, because I used to have, one ear covered and leave one open to my environment so I could hear, the cue and what I'm going to mix, and then make sure that there's no like weird feedback or a speaker didn't turn off. Like you want to hear the room, and that does take some getting used to. But once you got them dialed in and you get comfortable with it, there's nothing better. I love them, and I'm
That's
reaping
awesome.
the
And
benefits of it. So,
yeah,
yeah,
still got the awesome hearing, so that's great.
yeah.
Oh, no, that's really good. Um, so we have those, we have the mics, we have the thing. So what about your lighting? So when you go in, what's your kind of basic lighting packages look like? What do you recommend? What do you really like to see?
So I take an interesting philosophy with this. I don't offer packages per se. I basically, the couple or the person having the event contacts me. I always have a chat with them. I will never book anybody who I don't physically get to speak to. I want to make sure we're a good fit, right? And then based on the venue and kind of the expectations, I just bring what needs to be done and charge them a price to do it. So it's not like it's going to be this to DJ, and if you want lighting, it's an extra 600. I'm going to say, listen, I'm going to make your event look great, sound great. This is what it costs to have that happen. So if I go into a room and it needs 12 up lights, great. If it needs 28 up lights, great. Like that's for me to decide. Because at the end of the day, I think it does them no service and me no service. If people come into a room and it's dark or it's half lit or it's awkward and not balanced, like people are gonna look at me and be like, what the hell is this? Right. So I already own the equipment. It does no good sitting in the garage. So I quote the price to do what I need to do to make it look great. That being said, what I do to make it look great is 99% of the time I am a wash lighting DJ. I don't use any derbies, anything with lasers. I personally don't have a gig bar or anything like that. I use all Ape Labs uplighting, and I have maxis, minis, and cans. And between those three type of fixtures, every room looks absolutely stunning. I am a lighting idiot. I know nothing about DMX. I just kind of started diving into the Chevet ILS because I think they have something really special with that for lighting idiots like me. So I'm
Sure.
willing to give it a look. But beyond that, I have zero interest in complicated lighting. Again, I'm a one woman show. I need to get in, I need to get out, I need to have it look good. And Ape Labs allows me to do that because with a touch of a button, their music mode is
It's great.
phenomenal. It makes me look like
Yeah.
a rock star. Um,
Yep.
Now, I did a tent wedding last weekend, and it was a huge tent. So I brought a set of Wash FXs. That's probably my second most used and favorite fixture. That they're tremendously impactful. It's a relatively inexpensive fixture, so you get a lot of bang for your buck with that. I think,
Yeah.
honestly,
They're
are you
super
even a
bright.
DJ if you don't have a Wash FX? Like, come on
Probably
now.
not,
It's
but
like you're not even a DJ if you don't have a lifetime folding table and you don't own a set of Wash FX lights.
that's
Are you
fair.
even a DJ?
That's fair.
Um, and I thought about upgrading because they have an FX2, like a
And
second
the hex.
or hex, that's what I meant to say. And I don't know. I mean, mine still work great. The things are tank. The Wash FX is like the SM58 of like DJ lights. Like they just work, they don't break. Um, they're perfect for everything. I do own a set of rotospheres that I dig. So if I need a little like more eye candy kind of unique thing, by Chevet, those are pretty dope. Um, I have a brand new set of the new Chevet ILS battery powered movers that I'm
Okay.
trying to learn how to use those with the ILS. So I
Hmm.
haven't busted them out yet. I have a set of Q3 beam, the
Hmm.
the beam
Yeah,
lights,
the 4 quad, yeah.
the 4 o'clocks, those are really great. I consider those accent lighting, right? They're meant to highlight,
Yeah.
fireplaces or, signature walls or
R
something like
yeah,
that.
right behind the head table,
They look phenomenal.
keyboard table. Yep.
And is there any other lighting I use? I'm just trying to picture my garage here, and that's basically it. I really don't own a lot of lighting, and I'm very intentful on what I bring. Like, I believe in enhancing a space, not overwhelming it. And just because you own all the things doesn't mean you need to bring all the things. Like, you can
Yeah.
overdo it. So I always design my lighting based off of the venue itself. Like, I'm
I think
not
that's a
gonna
really good
cram,
idea.
like, just because I own it, we don't have to use it all. We don't have to cram it all in, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Um, I do have a bit of a controversial take to make. I agree with you. Um, I
Ooh.
don't I it's just never been my way of doing it. Like, people, it's like, "Oh, I charge $25 a fixture, or I charge this for that." My thought is, if I'm gonna do up whole room uplighting, whether it takes 5 lights or 48 lights, that's what it takes. And yes, I understand. Okay, that means I have to bring 2 extra flight cases of lights. Okay, so that takes an extra 3 minutes to load. Okay. Like, I've never understood that. Like, so personally, when I book things, I book them as, this is my, like, wedding package. Again, I do wedding package, and then there's add-ons if you want to do other stuff. But, like, okay, you want me to come out and DJ your wedding? Okay, well, for this price, I will come out and I'll do, your reception, like the cocktail hour, the reception, and I just say lighting, and then I include, because I think uplighting is one of the biggest things that accents a room.
Right, and it's one
That
of the
can
first
really,
things they wanna leave off, and they don't realize
uh,
the impact of that.
yeah. I just
Yeah,
like, nah, that, and so that's included in my. I include that in my base price. You
and
just get
it's not
uplighting.
free, like, it's priced in it,
Yeah.
but it's not
Yeah.
itemized.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
It's
you
a thing
don't
that
have the
I just.
option to leave it off. Like, if they tell me, "Hey, our venue has uplighting," I'm gonna caution them and say, take a
Do
double
they
look
really?
at it. Do you
Yeah.
really? Or is it just like one par can from like 1980 with a light
Yeah.
bulb that gets so hot you could fry an egg on it, kind of a thing?
Yep.
But if they just say, no, we're good, I don't discount my package. Like,
No.
I
Mm-mm.
offered it. This is what it costs to have me here for the day. You have the best I have to offer. If you don't want to use it, okay. You know?
Yeah. And yeah, I'm the same way. Like, whether I set up the uplighting or not, that's what I charged. And so
Hmm.
again, it's built into my pricing. So it would be the same as if I said, okay, well, this is my thing, but if you want to add up lighting, it's this. Now I still have it because of, like, so, like, corporate stuff. Corporate stuff is a lot different. You just itemize everything because they want to know what everything costs. And so I have that as pricing, like a la carte pricing, like, hey, if you just want up lights, it's this. If you want this, And so I have all that, but I'm the same way. Like, the people are just like, oh, if you want lights, that's an extra $450. If it works for you and that's how you want to do it,
Hmm.
great. I've just personally never understood it, because I also don't understand the idea of going out to do a wedding and not having any light. Like, to me, it's just like, that's it just
Right.
seems cheap.
Well, it's one of those, you don't know what you don't know, right? And again, the clients
Yeah.
don't understand the impact.
Hmm.
Um, and it does you no good sitting in the garage anyway. And then again, when it comes to content, social media, photographers, other people looking to book a DJ, like, everything reflects on you. So if they're sitting in a room that doesn't have a good vibe, doesn't have a good ambiance, and lighting absolutely affects the mood, the people.
The whole
If a
thing.
room's too bright, like, there's a big psychology to it. So it's more than just, lighting. It impacts the whole event. Yeah, so that's why it's like, hey, this is coming with me regardless,
Yeah.
and that's it. So yeah, no,
Yeah. No,
we are
I
110% agreement on that.
yeah, that's just my personal thing. And again, anybody who does it any other way, it's your business. Do it your way. I'm not saying that my way is the right way. That's just the way that I choose to do it. So, um, so the thing that, when you're going through all of your equipment, do you have that favorite piece of equipment that, you know what, I always enjoy using this. I want to use it all the time. I can't not use it. The way you were talking, it might be your IEMs. Um, so it could be that, which is totally fine. I just didn't know if there was something else that you were thinking, Um, like, you just have that favorite piece of equipment that you just can't ever get away from?
I mean, honestly, now it's probably gonna be my Danny Max booth, um, because I can leave 90% of my stuff pre-wired, and I just picture going back to so I was using a dragon board facade before the Danny Max booth. My facade alone weighed 70 pounds. My entire booth with all my stuff in it is like 85 pounds. And I still had to hook up the power wires and the this and the that. And it shaved probably 50 minutes, 45 minutes off of my setup time. I can roll in with two cases and I don't have to worry about that I forgot anything. You know, the cases
Yeah.
are waterproof. Like it has reduced so much stress for me. It's ridiculous. I can't imagine going back to a folding table and an 80-pound facade and scrims and skirts and no way. If Danny ceased to exist tomorrow, I'd probably quit. Like I couldn't do it. I couldn't go back. So
Yeah,
honestly, it's probably my Danny Max booth. No
yeah,
joke. And then probably my Evolves, man. I'm telling you, I just love being able to throw those suckers in the back of an Equinox, knowing I could rock 90% of events. I get so many compliments on them. A lot of people are like, that sounds coming out of these, you know?
yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
so Danny Max booth Evolves, then IEMs kind of a thing.
Okay. So top 3, so that's pretty good.
Top 3, top 3.
Yeah, that's good. I feel like, and people are probably getting tired of me saying this, but I'm the same way. So I have a Danny Max booth, and I love it. I use it as much as I can, but I have a Toad because I have a trailer. Like, oof, I just can't. It's that same thing. Everything's set up. I can roll in with my Toad booth and one cart that my lights are on, and I'm done. It's so easy. It's like a cheat code.
Mhm,
And and I've said this on here before. I think the reason that I decided to invest in the furniture, and it really kind of comes back to what you said too. I've By investing in that equipment, you buy time. It's less wear and tear on your body. It's less wear and tear on your equipment because you're not unplugging and replugging everything all the time. Um, I think their DJ furniture is just one of the best things that you can do if you can afford it. I think they're just fantastic because, like I said, it's kind of a cheat code. It's just so much easier. So
mhm. And venues
yes,
appreciate it. Um,
yeah,
again, you should enhance the space, not overwhelm it. And they love that it doesn't take up a lot of room. It's quick in, quick out. You know, a lot of times we say, "Listen, I've never seen anything like this before. This is amazing. Did you have this custom made?" Like, it's definitely a conversation piece. And I know this sounds ridiculous because it's like DJs think the only people who actually care about this is other DJs, but you know. I've even had it mentioned in reviews where like a bride was like, "Hey, we couldn't put her in the place that she wanted, but she had a great setup that she could fit over here and everything was beautiful." And like people do notice,
yeah.
they do. They notice. So, but you
Well,
can still
and
use all their stuff and still look great. Like I don't want people to
oh
think
yeah,
that like, if you don't have a $3,000, Toad or Danny Max booth or something like, you can't still have great results and
Mm.
look fabulous. You'd be amazing what you could do with a $3 Velcro strap. You know what I mean?
oh, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. It's just that one. It's just that next thing of things that help enhance. Like you said, it helps enhance it. And so talking about my packages, so that's something that I give um, my couples and my people that do my events. I give them that option. Hey, do you want this? Do you want the Toad booth? Do you want the TV that has music videos and the whole thing like that? Or do you want this classic, real simple thing? And you'd be surprised. People say, "Oh, I love how simple that looks and how that looks really cool." So people really do notice and have that ability. And I think it's just really cool. Obviously, there's lots of other DJs who do it. It's not just me, but being able to offer them different looks for that same price. But it's like, oh, like we can get this for that same price. Yeah, if that's what you want, that's just what you can
Hmm.
do. And so again, just having those options. And again, there's some people that are like, oh, well, if I take out this booth, it costs an extra, $450. I'm just like, well, I have to take one of them anyway, so it
Right.
is what it is. But yeah, so do you have that piece of equipment that you don't have yet that you really, really want? You said something about the Rain Performer earlier. I don't know if maybe that was it, or if there was even something. Hey, I want to go to the UE, the 21s or whatever. Is there something crazy that you're really wanting to get?
I think it is honestly, I'm just gonna say like a newer upgraded controller. And you can obviously tell by what I own. I'm not one of those as soon as they drop the hottest and newest and greatest, I jump on it. Like I see it as an investment. I want it to run its course. I don't buy impulsively. Like I really thoroughly research. That's also why I like going to these shows and appreciate, what NLFX does when you set up those booths and you give us an opportunity to actually like, play on it and try it out in the Pioneer booth, and it's all great. But it's time. My MCX 8000 is like 8 or 9, 8, I think like 8 years old at this
Yeah,
point in juncture. And I think, that now that we have stems and they're developed for the new technology, so it's not, the same thing but different. It's an actual upgrade. It's no different than your iPhone, right? Like, okay, I have
right.
a 14. I'm going to wait till probably the iPhone, like I wait 4 or 5 years until there's actually something better and new. Like the Rain Performer offers me something better and new. So I think it's time for a new controller at some point. But I have a hard time because my 8000, the thing is mint. It's crispy. I take really good care of it. I don't have, all the paint isn't rubbed off of it. Like
Yeah,
it looks
yeah.
like brand new. I take really good care of my stuff. So that's why I don't move on easily. I also
No,
don't move on from cars. I own a '04 and a 2013. Like and my DJ vehicle is a 2007 Silverado. Like I hold on to things.
that's all right. But that's also a testament to if you spend decent money on stuff and you take care of it, it can really last you a long time.
Hmm.
So, you don't necessarily have to go to that next thing right away if you take the time to, you know,
Clean it, put cases
clean
on
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cases and covers are the biggest thing. I have a guy that I know who is a DJ, and we all him and one of our other friends, we all bought Evolves around the same time. I got them right when they first came out, and I kid you, 6 months in, they looked like they'd been used for 25 years. Because he just would
Mhm.
throw them in the back of his van at the end of the night. He wouldn't put the covers on. He wouldn't do. It's just like, man, what do you do? Like, take care of, like, not cheap. Like, take care of them. Do the whole thing. But man, they had gouges all the time, and it was just like, all right. Okay.
Mhm.
But and then you have me who just like I won't leave the garage if I don't have a case on it. Every few months I take and because again I'm all white system, I scrub them down with magic erasers and you know make sure everything's working the whole thing because it's just I feel like it presents how you present. So
Mhm.
it's a really cool thing. But um so just the last kind of part to this, and thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it so much. So when did you first hear about NLFX, and what kind of brought you to to the dark side to come and check us out and stop by the booth?
So, it was started on Facebook, right? Because everybody speaks the praises of your cables, right? Your Platinum Series
Sure.
wires, and you can't be on a Facebook DJ group and not hear about NLFX GAF or NLFX uh, cables, right? So
Yep.
I've heard of the brand, but I didn't start going until expos until like 2018. And obviously stopped by the booth, got familiar, just made like a random purchase here and there. And then everybody knows Ben Stowe, right? And then with his thing that he did on DJN TV, and I got more like
Yep.
familiar with him and the content. And it was actually very inspirational to me, not only as like a student wanting to learn, but also like just the philanthropy, if I said that correctly, of just like giving back and really nurturing the community. And I wanted to be closer to that. So I made, some purchases, and then, the customer service that you offer, making sure you're buying the right thing, right? It's not just a sale to you guys. At the end of the day, like if it doesn't work or if someone's having trouble, like they're picking up the phone and calling you because you sold it to them. Like, hey, you told me you would do this and it's not doing this. Like, and you guys really bend over backwards for people that way. So you took really good care of me as a customer. And then as I started making content, I think one of the first like videos that I partnered with you guys was actually like on your cables, where
Hmm.
I cut some of them open versus some competitors.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we've built a really great relationship over the years. And I don't know. I really appreciate what you guys do. The small town kind of vibe and customer service that you guys have, and um, you're one of the only or very like one of two that is actually out in the community doing things other than just selling DJs crap, like doing podcasts like this. Again, the DJ and TV thing that Ben does. I know Ben talked to me about doing something in DJ help desk, that I started. Having some type of like Zoom team things with educational content, and just even his background, right? You're talking to one of the most like renowned sound touring guys like in the country.
Yeah.
Ben, I hope your head can fit through the door after you watch this episode. No, but really, just the experience that he brings, and then obviously he knows like who to hire, bring people like you and Kat on, and just you guys have a rock star team. So I don't know. I'm rambling on. I think the world of
No,
you guys, and you've taken such good care of me and everybody in the community. So
and I really appreciate that, and I love that the part that really gets out and gets and resonates with people is that we're not trying to create a sale. We're trying to create fanatics like that want to come and they want to do those things with us and all that sort of thing. So I appreciate that so much that that you said that and that you keep coming back and doing that. I also appreciate everything that you're doing, like you said, with the DJ help desk. That thing has blown up like crazy. Did you guys expect it was going to grow quite that fast into what that is now?
not at all. We
Yeah,
had really modest, I'm just going to say intentions. So, again, transparency. We're just having a conversation here. I belong to a bunch of other DJ groups, and there is a lot of like censorship. Hold on a second. I feel like my cat just knocked something over and broke something. Hold on. Um,
darn cats.
Sorry, my cat just broke one of my Halloween pumpkins.
Oh man, come on, cat.
So, what was I talking about? Oh, the DJ help desk group is what I was talking about.
Yeah,
So I belong to a couple of DJ groups, and I just noticed a lot of censorship. I noticed a lot of, um, I was posting content and it would either get removed, it was like flagged for spam and self-promotion. And, as you know, I just try to make videos to help people out. And I don't know, I grew really frustrated. So I said, you know what? If you can't beat it, build it. And
sure.
I have a couple of great moderators, and we really want a transparent, friendly, influencer friendly, place where people can share. And also not just like, hey, my speaker isn't working, what do I do? I want people to be able to share their wins. If you had an event that you feel so great about and you crushed it over the weekend, like come share that with us. We can celebrate each other's successes. It doesn't always have to be, complaints and negativity and just kind of the stuff that goes on in these
Oh
groups. We
yeah,
really just wanted to be
absolutely.
a breath of fresh air. And I'll fully admit I rule with an iron fist in there. It's a sacred space to me. We worked really hard to create it. So it's either, be kind, be helpful, or be gone. Like that's literally our slogan. We ban and remove people every day for just being rude and petty, but we also have a lot of great people that understand the mission. And it's a very vibrant space, and we're happy to have you as one of our vendors that are in there. And again, and you can vouch for this, there's no sponsorship, there's no paid slots, there's no,
No,
this over that. It's hey, if like virtual DJs in there, you're in there, Ape Labs is in there, like there's a lot of brands in
yeah.
there, and we're
Mhm.
happy to have you and interact with the DJs buying your products, and that's exactly what we wanted. So
That's awesome. And again, we appreciate it so much, and we appreciate everybody in the thing who gives us shout outs all the time. People are commenting in there all the time. Well, if you want this, contact Ben or Kyle or do this. So, we really appreciate that. And we appreciate all the help that we get from the community, but also just from like you and everybody else in the space. And again, NLFX wouldn't be anything without our customers. So we really appreciate it. And thank you so much about everything. Rachel, it's been an absolute pleasure having you. Thank you
my
so much for
pleasure.
joining me tonight. Is there anything you want to plug on here before we head off?
Well, Obviously, if you're not following me, I have a great YouTube channel. I'd love to connect there, make content, to help you guys out. Everything is literally at DJ Rachel Lynch. And then, of course, come join us over at the DJ Help Desk. It's literally at the DJ Help Desk. It's like a black logo with like a gold, turntable thing. I don't know. Chat GPT came up with the logo. It's not,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
super accurate to an actual piece of DJ
Yeah,
equipment, but
that's all
close
right.
enough. And we would love to have more members over there. So please come join us over at the DJ Help Desk on Facebook.
Absolutely. It's a really good community. And I will say kind of what she said before. I'm just looking at it right now. 12 and a half thousand members. And this was 2 months
Three
ago you
months
started?
ago.
3 months
Yeah.
ago. Yeah. So it wasn't long.
And I'm gonna tell you,
Um,
we hand approved every single one of those. I'm not even joking.
that's a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm a little surprised I was let in. But um so I was just double checking too. I'm just like, I'm subscribed to her on YouTube, right? And I am. So hey, we're good.
Good.
I am subscribed to you on YouTube. So again, thank you so much. We appreciate everything that you do for the community as a whole, because that's what we really want to grow and become great. Because we really do think that it's an awesome community, and we want to continue to be able to support everybody and all that. So
Thank
thank
you
you
so
again so much
much.
for being on here, and I hope we do it again real soon. Okay,
Cool, man. Thank you so much for having me.
absolutely. Take care.
All right. Bye bye.